Go ahead.
Okay, our first item, has been continued to the next meeting, which is May 1st, 2025. It was 166 Pine Creek Avenue, so that will not be heard today. If anyone was here for that or online for that, that will be next month. Okay, so our first item on our agenda is 113 Charles Street, map 182, parcel 250. Petition of Severin Carlson and Shannon Ford for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the sum of two sideline setbacks from 20 feet, currently 25.6, proposing 14.1. Permission to construct a 2.5-story addition, premises B zone. If you're here for that application, can you please come forward? Anything you need to hand out? Do you have originals?
These are just the copies. The originals were submitted in turn.
Okay, this is just for the board then?
Yes.
Okay, great. If you can go and name and address.
Sure. Severin Carlson, 113 Charles Street, Fairfield. I wish to construct a 2.5-story structure consisting of a new garage at grade level. Above the garage will be bedrooms, and there will be a mudroom connecting the garage to the main house in the rear. The reason for us being here is our hardship is we have a pre-existing non-conforming lot based on the lot's square and frontage. The current front is 50 feet and a frontage of 60 feet is required. And to note is we've kept the floor area and the lot coverage well below the permitted allowances. I guess that's the formal piece, and the informal piece is we have a growing family and love the house, love the neighborhood, need a little more space, and specifically bedrooms.
Is there any questions from the board?
I'm having a hard time reading, so if I'm not reading it correctly, let me know. It looks like one of the, if you look in the, I think it's the first page of the site plan, not the building plan, but the site plan, it says the minimum requirement is identified as, I can't even read which one it is, but it's about halfway down. It says 15/20 feet. And the existing is 25 point something, and the proposed is 14.1. I'm having a hard time relating the site plan to that measurement, and what does that refer to specifically? You following me? You know what I'm talking about?
I am not.
Bill is.
Bill Levy, architect. So the 14.1 is the combination of both sides combined,
Oh,
side yard setbacks.
okay. And the current is 15? Is that what I'm seeing here? Or the standard is 15 and the proposed is 14.1?
Correct.
Okay.
My name's Harold Zawatsky. I see that you currently have a rear separate garage and a shed, it looks like, next to the garage. Will that be retained? You'll keep that?
The shed will stay, the garage will go.
The garage in the back will go. Okay. And so then you will be building the new addition over the existing driveway. And that'll be a single-car garage? Thank you.
We try to stay 5 foot plus, even though it will be tight.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
So the gray structure in the back is going?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here who would like to speak for this application, either online or in the audience? Is there anyone here who is here to speak against this application, online or? No? Okay, hearing none and seeing none, we're going to close this application. Thank you. Number 2, 104 Roland Road, map 182, parcel 205. Petition of David and Elizabeth Hibbs for a variance of the zoning regulations section 5.2.4 to reduce the sum of two sideline setbacks from 20, currently 17.8, proposing 17.8, and section 5.2.5 to increase the lot coverage from 20%, currently 17.5, proposing 22.6, permission to construct a 1- and 2-story rear addition and a deck, premises A zone. Hi.
I'm Jennifer Hustis Tucker Architects, Woodbridge, Connecticut.
And I'm Libby Hibbs, the resident at 104 Roland Road, lifelong resident here in town.
So Libby and David Hibbs are the owner of the residence of the single-family home located at 104 Roland Road. The property is in the residential A zone, has a lot area of 10,211 square feet, and has a minimum square of 60.4 and a frontage of 60. The property is referenced in the town assessor's map as map 182, parcel 205. The intent of the owners and applicants is to upgrade their home, which was constructed in 1929. The proposed improvements to the home consist of an addition in the rear of the home. The addition will include a mudroom and kitchen on the first floor, primary bedroom and bathroom on the second floor. The proposed addition will also include a covered porch and attendant landing and steps. A portion of the addition is 2 stories and a portion is 1 story. The applicants are requesting a variance in order to provide the necessary living space for their family. The variance requested is 5.2.4 to reduce the sum of the two sidelines from 20 feet, currently 17.8 feet, proposed 17.8 feet. So we're not adding additional, we're not adding, requesting smaller setback where the addition is in line with the existing. And then to section 5.2.5 to increase the lot coverage from 20%. It's currently 17.5%, and we're proposing 22.6%. The first variance request, the reduction of the sum of the side yard setbacks, is due to 2 factors: the existing lot configuration and placement of the existing home on the lot. The residential A zone requires a 75-foot square, and the lot contains only a 60.5 square. Similarly, the frontage required is 75 feet, and the site has a frontage of 60 feet. The end result is that the existing home is non-conforming as to the sum of the 2 side yards, and any addition to the existing home would face same design restrictions. The proposed addition would be in line, as I said, with the existing home and will not encroach further into the setbacks or increase the pre-existing nonconformity. The proposed increase in lot coverage is largely due to the existing site conditions and the fact that the property is in the FEMA flood zone. Additionally, the existing garage, which is original to the property and is architecturally pleasing, is a bit oversized in comparison with the other original detached garages in the neighborhood. Because the existing garage is located at the rear of the property and the property has a shared driveway, it prevents parking along the driveway, and the owners must park in the back near the garage. And and they have to enter the home from the rear of the house. So The design for the addition includes a covered porch and a mudroom as a way to enter the home. Because the existing home is 3 feet 6 inches above grade, the new deck and stairs are larger than they might have been otherwise if the house was closer to grade. We looked at many design alternatives to not add as much coverage, and we were not able to come up with a better solution. I also want to point out that the lot is not being overbuilt. The proposed FAR on the property is only 31%, where the allowable is 40%. Because the age of the home updates are needed with the proposed renovation and addition, the 1929 home will be brought up to current building code requirements. The proposed addition will add structural stability to the existing home. The structural components of the first and second floors and roof will greatly enhance the stability of the whole structure. The existing home, as well as the addition, will be FEMA compliant. The addition has been designed in a manner consistent with the existing character and scale of the surrounding neighborhood and would not have a negative impact on public health, safety, or property values. The small proposed site coverage overage seems to be in keeping with other homes in the neighborhood. And lastly, the owners have received unanimous support for their project from their neighbors.
No, that was great. Just that, yeah, no, we love the neighborhood and love the character of the neighborhood and want to keep it that way. So our family is growing in a different way than the previous couple, but with grandchildren, we want to have a little bit more space in the home.
Board members, questions? No? Katie? So just, anybody have any questions? No? Okay. No questions.
I'll take those.
Is there anyone in the audience or online who'd like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone online or in the audience who would like to speak against this application? Hearing none, seeing none, we're going to close this application. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to item number 108, New England Avenue, Lot A. We are going, as long as the applicant is, okay, we are going to combine application 3 and application 4. Okay, so unfortunately, I will have to read them both right now, so it might be a bit, but I'll try to go as fast as I can. Okay, so application number 3, 108 New England Avenue, Lot A, map 182, parcel 62. Petition of 108 New England Avenue LLC for a variance of the zoning regulation 5.1.1 and 2.7 to reduce the lot size, lot square, and lot frontage from 6,000 square feet, 60 square and 60-foot frontage, 60-foot square and 60-foot frontage, currently 10,000 square feet, 100 square feet, and 100 feet frontage, proposing 5,000 square feet, 50 feet square, and 50 feet frontage. Permission to construct a single-family building lot. Premises B zone. Application number 4, same application, we're combining it as 108 New England Avenue, Lot B. Map 182, parcel 62, petition of 108 New England Avenue LLC for a variance to zoning regulations, section 5.1.1 and 2.7 to reduce the lot size, lot square, and lot frontage from 6,000 square feet 60 feet square and 60-foot frontage. Currently 10,000 square feet, 100 square feet, and 100 feet frontage. Proposing 5,000 square feet, 50 square feet, and 50-foot frontage. Permission to create a single-family building lot premises B zone. Hello?
Hi, I'm Dean Cardemus. I'm the owner of the property. I will submit the original now, and I'll give everybody the
Great,
copies of
thank
the
you.
petition. All right. There's a lot here, so here we go. 1, 2. 3. That sounded complicated with all the numbers, but I'll try to simplify it and keep it simple, I think, for layman terms. So in that area, yeah, we'll try to cut it here. So it's a 10,000 square foot lot, really a double lot in that area. So when those subdivisions were done back in the day, and that's included in the package here, those were all 25-foot by 50-foot lots. People would buy 2, build a house. This person obviously bought 4 and left off to the right as another lot. So as zoning laws changed, it all became duplex lots. So you needed 60-foot, not 50-foot. So the proposal is to not build a duplex there. The house is pretty much a knockdown at this point, and to build 2 smaller single-family homes. And for a few reasons. If the pictures show, it's on a substantial hill, 108 New England Avenue, Massachusetts, Vermont, they're all on hills. The idea would be to tier 2 smaller homes relative to try to do a duplex and try to tier that. And being it's on a hill, there is some substantial drainage issues, which you'll see in the petition. The fellow downhill, he's all for it because he wants to fix the problem. The woman across the street, she signed, and she is, a proponent of the project. The woman to the right, she's concerned about potential, her property is uphill, and that's one of the reasons why we proposed, 5 foot off her property, which meets today's requirements, because we assumed the new house and foundation would actually hold that property up, because it is sloped substantially now. So, basically, most of the homes in that area, and you see the overmap, are 50 by 100 foot lots. So proposing is really what just it fits the neighborhood, ultimately. So it would just be a better construction site to do 2 single-family homes. The space in between the 2 projects would give me drainage areas. I can use swaling to hold the water. It would be a lot easier to build, and I think just more in tune with the character of the neighborhood. So when I explained to the neighbor across the street, she understood it. I'm like, yeah, I go, this is all single-family houses. So the duplex would be the only one, I think, on the road, even though that is a permitted use. So a few of the opposition was, well, we have traffic problems. I said, well, you're going to have 2 driveways anyway. You're going to have, you're literally putting in 2 homes here either way, whether they're connected or they're not. The good news about the 2 single-family homes, they will be smaller in square footage, and they'll meet all today's zoning requirements. So they'll have the right setbacks, the right height, the right square footage. So we're really looking for no other waivers besides to put the lot back to the 2 50 by 100 square foot lots that were originally probably intended when the subdivision was happening. So, I've done this in other neighborhoods. I did in my own neighborhood. I think people do like to see the smaller single-family homes. I think people understand, what's going on, get it. I think people don't understand, just kind of want to fight development in Fairfield, which I get it. I'm a lifelong Fairfielder. I've owned this 15 years. I get it. But ultimately, these typically, to me, suit the neighborhood better. So I don't know what else to say about it, but if any questions, I can answer.
I have to believe there's questions.
Okay.
Do you have a question? Okay, pretty clear.
It's supposed to be 6,000 in that, so you're requesting a variance to make them 5,000 square.
Correct. Yeah, which is typical of that neighborhood. Most of them are 5,000.
And you can build on the upper, you can build a single-family house that's going to be within the setbacks?
Oh, yeah. 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 And actually what my proposal would be, either whether a duplex or a single family, I would use the foundation really to hold that hill back. So the house would be helpful in doing it. That or you'd just put a retaining wall in there. But ultimately, you would use the house as kind of the retaining wall, and tier it down. So, you know, like I said, as a right of use, you can build a bigger house because with the duplex, you eliminate two side setbacks. You know what I mean? So you'd be 20-foot combined as one, not 20-foot combined as two. So ultimately, it's a smaller footprint, which would be better for drainage. Like right now, the gutters shoot literally down New England Avenue. The gutters really come out the driveway and go right down the hill. With today's engineering standards, you have to do 100% containment. We have to contain the water, like whether I wanted to not or not. I mean, that's not even an option. So ultimately, the new constructions do contain all the water, which does, I mean, when you're on a hill like that, that's huge for the guy downhill. You know, I mean, you know, so he's like, hey, you're going to build this thing, you're going to hold all your water. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you know, good.
So, sorry, I know everyone else's questions. I just have a couple questions. You keep saying going back to 2005, 250 by 100 lots. So right now, what do you have? One lot?
No, we have 100-foot by 100-foot.
You
And
have
we,
one lot.
yeah, we have one lot, but originally it was 4 lots. It was 4 25 by 100 lots. So if you look at the original subdivision maps, and it's in that package, or at least there's one here, that's how most, if you look at all the historical Fairfield maps, it's kind of funny to think this way. This is probably when they were selling stuff in the back of magazines. They were done like this. You know, and you'd have to buy 2 or 3 to build a house. But ultimately, a developer, I mean, maybe businessman-wise, was like, hey, you'd have to buy 1 lot. You couldn't do anything with 1. So somebody bought 4,
But
but most of them are on 2.
And right now, you own 108 New England Avenue Lot B and 100 New England Avenue Lot A.
Well, we would be making Lot A. Right now, it's 100-foot wide.
Right now, you own one piece of property.
That's 100 by
And
100.
if you came before us and didn't want a variance,
Yeah.
could you build a single-family?
I could build a duplex there by right of use tomorrow
You
morning.
could build a single-family home there.
I could. Well, there's a single-family home there now.
Right.
But if you were going to knock that down, you could build, you know, in a B zone, the permitted use as a duplex. And we're actually 1,000 foot bigger than we would need to be a
So your
duplex.
ask is to be able to put in 2 homes and split the lots.
Correct.
That's your-
And they would be smaller by square footage, substantially smaller.
To that end, what is your hardship? You know, as you come before us,
Yep.
what are you at? What's your need for this?
The topography is literally on a hill.
Okay.
So the hardship would literally be, like, we can tier 2 houses much easier than 1 building.
But could you build one with the current topography?
You could. You could. But I mean, like I said, it would be the only one on the street, which, you know, like, for instance, being that you're board members, and so I live on South Pine Creek Road. So next door to me, a builder wanted to do this exact project. Came to me, I got the neighbor involved. They said, look, we gotta be proponents of this. It will look great. The condo association across the street, they lawyer up, they want to fight it. He doesn't even apply. He's not going to go through it. We have this giant box. It's like we have a nice little house, we have my house, we got this box, and then we have all little houses. And he says to me all the time, hey, Dean, I'm sorry. I know you're a builder. I go, I get it, Ron, you tried. So I think sometimes the neighbors don't even know what they're fighting against. Like, they just don't understand what they're up against. It's like, you know, you're getting 2 houses here, whether they're connected or they're not. It will look better for Fairfield. I think we all agree. The historical is smaller homes because they were all on these little lots. That's Fairfield, right? I mean, even the beach area, right? They were all on these little non-conforming lots. That's what we're up against today. So,
Is this property at the top of the hill on?
it's going down the hill.
Going down. And currently to the right of the house
It's
is
empty.
a wooded area.
Well, the driveway's there there's 2 driveways for the house now. Don't ask me why, I didn't.
Asphalt on one side.
Yeah, there's a 1-car garage under the house, and then onto the other side, there was a driveway that went around the back of the house. Maybe years ago, there was a garage there, but long before I owned it.
So doesn't the wooded area absorb a lot of the runoff from the road?
No, and I wouldn't call it a wooded area. There's some old, like, I wouldn't even say they're specimen trees, right? Like, when people don't maintain a certain area, you start to get those weed trees and stuff in there, but I wouldn't call it a wooded area. And there's an old stone wall that's not in great shape.
And your plan for building on this property would necessitate, and you've agreed to provide whatever water mediation runoff is necessary,
Correct.
and you got those approvals?
I don't, like, that would be part of getting the building permit. Like, you could not get a building permit today by state statute without 100% like drainage containment. And that's not even fair. I mean, Fairfield applies to the state standard. So the days of like, you know, shooting the gutter down the road are over. Like, you probably remember like the days, like those little things under your gutter, like the little plastic things for the water. Those, it's over now. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff's going underground. And it's actually one of the big expenses in construction today is containing your own water. That's a big part of building today. Like, you have to do that.
Thank you.
Joe?
No questions.
Okay. Does the board, any other questions from the board? No? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, is there anyone here or online that would like to speak in favor of this application? No? Is there anyone here or online who would like to speak against this application?
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, there is.
Okay, please, can you just state your name and address?
Yes, my name is Dinah Schooley. Address is 71 New England Avenue. If you'd like, I'm happy to come on camera.
It's your, whatever, you're fine, whatever you prefer.
Okay, thank you. So I did prepare a statement, and also with your permission, I have a statement from my neighbor, Michelle Cosgrove, who could not be here today. So I have two statements that I'm prepared to give in opposition of this variance request.
Okay, unfortunately, you can only speak for yourself.
Okay. Just as a caveat, Michelle did copy me on that email, and I just want to confirm that it was sent and received, but I will happily speak for myself.
Oh, we do have that.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, so as I said, my name is Dinah Schooley. I live at 71 New England Avenue. I'm here to speak in strong opposition to this proposed zoning variance. I would also, I understand the importance of housing and development. However, this proposal presents serious concerns for our neighborhood, concerns that go beyond aesthetics and lot size and speak directly to livability, safety, and community values. My first concern is related to traffic, safety, and parking. New England Avenue is already heavily congested. It sits between two major highways and is just less than a half mile from the train station. As a result, it has become a throughway for commercial vehicles, including 16-wheelers. This is a daily reality for residents on the street. There have been multiple car accidents in recent years. Blind hills, narrow lanes, and fast-moving traffic create serious hazards. Splitting the lot without addressing these conditions would only make matters worse. Parking is another problem, and I acknowledge that the developer did show images of two driveways on the property. However, my personal experience tells a different story. Despite two driveways, there have been occasions where the current tenant has blocked my driveway, which is two houses across the street up the hill. It's also worth noting that the Traffic Safety Commission is meeting on April 17th to review these very serious traffic concerns on New England Avenue. Approving a zoning change before that review takes place could be premature and have serious consequences. My second concern is related to school overcrowding. With splitting a lot and contributing to density concerns within this community, it will also sort of exacerbate the situation related to overcrowding. So I want to also raise that as a concern. Speaking on neighborhood character and precedent, this proposal doesn't just deviate from surrounding lot sizes, it deviates from neighborhood character, which isn't just about how the home looks, it's also about motive and intent. This applicant's submission suggests that splitting the lot would be consistent with the surrounding area. However, while he said that the average lot size is 5,000 square feet, the median lot size on this street of the 19 houses that run up and down the hill is 6,000 square feet. I would like to share that correction. The proposed split would result in 2 significantly smaller parcels, which is inconsistent with the lot pattern that gives this street its character. The intent here is to not create a lasting home for a family or to enhance the neighborhood. It's to maximize investment profitability on a rental property in a community already strained by traffic density and infrastructure limits. It's worth noting, this is a developer who is submitting this application. He has not lived on this street. He lives in an affluent beach community and has not lived the day-to-day reality of this street. I'll move on again to continuing related to rental property concerns and community impact. I don't know the intention of the 2 single-family homes, but given this developer's track record of creating large developments and dense developments on small lots, I have concerns about this variance and the upkeep and contribution to the character of the neighborhood. Rental properties typically come with higher turnover, more vehicles per household, more guests, and less personal accountability for how the property impacts surrounding neighbors. We've seen this in action in this neighborhood. Streets like Vermont Avenue and Rhode Island Avenue have several rental properties and have suffered from on-street parking overflow as a result. But unlike New England Avenue, those streets do not experience the same volume of traffic, commercial vehicles, and accident history. The stakes here related to this variance are simply higher. We cannot afford to increase rental density or even housing density on a street already under pressure from infrastructure, safety, and congestion challenges. This is not a case of one more house. It's actually a tipping point. I've already given some detail about the developer's track record, but I also want to highlight that it's concerning that he's presenting a request for a variance. However, he's not providing transparency on the actual design of the house and how it might mitigate some of the concerns that have been expressed by residents on the street, including my neighbor next door. As it relates, I know that something that came up as a question is that wooded area right next to the house. It's not just overgrown weeds. Those are live oak trees that have substantial roots that could, that if they're not responsibly removed, that could cause serious problems to the environment and also to structural foundations that neighbor this property. My request to the zoning board is consider delaying this decision until after the Traffic Safety Commission's review on April 17th. Number 2, require a clear enforceable parking plan that ensures off-street parking for all residents and guests. Mandate a tree and soil impact study to protect adjacent homes. Require full building plans before approving any zoning change so the community and the board can evaluate the real world impact. Consider the long-term precedent this variance would set for other properties. And finally, consider denying the variance altogether and allowing the lot as it is today to be developed as a single-family home consistent with the neighborhood scale and value. In closing, I want to say I am not against development. However, I am here for responsible, thoughtful development that respects the people who live here, protects public safety, and preserves the integrity of our community. I want to thank you for your time and considering these concerns seriously.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that wants to speak against the application? If not, would you like to speak to some of what she said?
Sure.
Please.
Thank you.
And we just want, the only ask we have is that you just respond to what she said, not more than that.
I will. The first response is That's an ex-tenant who lived in the house that didn't leave nicely because she wanted to stay. So clearly she made it a point to come tonight to go after everything that makes no sense. Obviously a duplex or two single-family homes, it's never going to be a single-family home. The traffic has nothing to do with me in Fairfield. I mean, quite frankly, the last time I did a construction project, when people find new ways to do cut-throughs after a while because there will be trucks in the road and it won't be so easy to get past, they typically find new ways. On Osborne Place, for instance, I had a neighbor say to me, like, traffic has stopped here. I'm like, yeah, because people can't shoot through anymore. Like, they've learned to do new cut-throughs. Whether that's bad for a street 2 streets over or not, I don't know. But ultimately, I can't stop that. So I think we're not seeking a zoning change, which she's said many times. We do have off-site parking, and I don't think she understands either way there's going to be 2 families there. So I understand her, like, some concerns as a Fairfield person that maybe another house on that road wouldn't be helpful, but it's coming, a duplex is coming either way. So I do think it does fit with the neighborhood, and if you look at the overview map, most of the lots are 50 by 100. Honestly, the house to the right is the same lot as my size. So that's another 100-foot lot. And, I don't know what they'll do one day, but, they might be back here doing the same thing, that we're doing today. But I don't think her concerns have anything to do with my project. I think they're concerns with the town of Fairfield that has nothing to do with me.
I would like an opportunity to respond to that.
No, I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. But thank you very much for participating today.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's not anything else, we are going to close this application. And we are going to move on to number 5. Thank you. And do you have originals already? Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to read first, okay?
Please.
So this is number 5 on our agenda, which is 430 Reed Street, map 125, parcel 290. Petition of Christopher and Stephanie Moore for a variance to the zoning regulations section 5.2.5 to increase the total lot coverage from 20%, currently 24.2%, proposing 29.5%. Permission to construct a rear 1-story addition and a landing with stairs. Premises A zone.
Thank you. Christopher Moore, Stephanie Moore, my wife, homeowners at 430 Reed Street. We thank you for the opportunity to petition the committee for a lot coverage variance regarding our home at 430 Reed Street. Stephanie and I have lived at the residence since 2019, during which time we welcomed 2 sons, Anthony and Thomas. Approval of this variance today will allow us to proceed with a home renovation project that's essential for our growing family. Our plans include a formal dining room, living room, expanded kitchen and pantry, laundry room, powder room, as well as additional space for our primary bedroom closet and bathroom renovations. Plan specs result in an increase to our lot coverage from 24.2% to 29.5%. The proposal removes the outdoor deck and extends our home by roughly 17 feet, just past where the current deck exists today. Our proposal was guided by 2 key considerations. First, our existing home is built with 2x3 by 16 exterior framing, which presents significant challenges if we were to add a second story. Any such addition would require the entire exterior to be reframed with larger framing or sistering the existing framing, making it much more cost-effective to demolish the home and rebuild from the ground up. This would not only be a substantial financial burden to us as the homeowners, but significantly longer and more disruptive construction for our neighbors. Second, our stretch of homes on Reed Street features 7 consecutive homes with consistent front-facing design, creating a unique and charming feature in the neighborhood. A second story or any alternative addition would disrupt the aesthetic and negatively impact the harmony of the area. With this in mind, we work closely with our architectural team to preserve the home's front-facing appearance and roofline. The back elevation of the house has been carefully designed to complement the front and sides of the existing structure. This project is designed to meet the needs of our family while minimizing any impact on the character of our neighborhood or causing significant disruptions to our neighbors. We've shared our plans with each of our neighbors and gathered their signatures of support, which we've submitted today. We hope that any neighbors who we were unable to reach are present today or have communicated their concerns with this panel so that we can address them in a thoughtful and transparent manner. We respectfully ask the committee to grant this variance application and allow us to improve our home and continue to raise our family in this community. Thank you.
Questions from the board?
I can't pull up the whole, I can't pull up the whole case, but is there hardship? What's the current lot configuration?
You know what
Do
your
you know if you have a hardship?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have two hardships. The first would be the neighborhood harmony that we would be damaging as a result of, constructing a second-story addition. And secondly, there's a abnormal, financial burden related to an ability to construct a different alternative renovation, which would essentially result in us having to knock the house down. The lot itself is somewhat uniquely designed and separately, just based on the existing Lot A potential sizes, we fall at the lower end of the Lot A range, and so a lot of the proposals we have here would fit in a more average size Lot A.
But the existing exterior walls are 2x3, which cannot support a second story. You either have to sister them or add one in at 8 inches on center. They're currently at 16, which is what Chris mentions. Then we'd either be knocking the first story down, completely rebuilding from the foundation, or having to sister each of those beams to support a second story plus the roof to go up.
Will the height of the addition be in line with the current roof line?
It'll actually be a foot lower, so you really can't see it from the front. Yes.
I have a question I'm trying to frame.
Got it. Okay. Oh, so it's just this.
Matt?
Yes, sir.
If you have a chance, is the design or the engineering of the existing house a valid consideration of nonconformance?
Yes, I would say that's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait, can you explain that further, please?
Well, in today's codes, you need, for insulation, you have to have 2x6 framing. They only have 2x3. So they wouldn't even be able to meet the insulation rating that's required. And then the structural stability of holding a second floor on top of the 2x3, with that space of 16 inches, we get it built and it could potentially collapse, to be honest.
Yeah, should you be worried about that?
Is this a fire alarm?
I don't know, I don't see smoke, but we could probably go outside.
Probably, just in case.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
When are we
Okay,
adjourned?
We're gonna adjourn the meeting and we'll retake our spaces as soon as we can.
I think recess is the right word.
Yeah, recess, not adjourned. Showing, was that included in their previous coverage? Included in this.
When do you get to see what this looks like from
Okay.
behind?
We are going to call back to order the zoning board of appeals meeting, Fairfield, Connecticut, for April 3rd, 2025. Back to the board asking questions of application number 5430 Reed Street. Okay, so I believe
I
we're
was in the middle of asking
a
that,
question.
yeah.
And do you have more to that question?
I don't know, you said you
I didn't quite finish.
please.
I think to answer your question, in regard to the standards that are necessarily required by the building codes, not the zoning codes, but the building codes, 2x3 would not pass code. So if they were to build on top of that, they would have to secure the first floor and then put in support beams above to secure the second floor. To meet not only the structural standpoints, but also the insulation rating, and then to meet the other codes that are needed through the statute. Do I think that's a hardship? It's not one that is technical, but as to what the definition that is provided by the state. But on my opinion, it would be a hardship for anyone to do any type of construction on top of a structure that's that has that type of framing.
So it's not like topography, which is an established hardship, but it's similar.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, again, it's up to the board to determine what they feel is a hardship, whether it be a standard or a textbook or, a need or an improvement to the structure of the building.
Okay. Is there any more questions for the applicants of 430 Reed Street? Okay, the board doesn't have any more questions. Thank you very much. You can sit. Okay. Is there anyone in the room or online who would like to speak for this application? I don't see any. Is there anyone here or in the room who would like to speak against this application? Hearing none, seeing one, we're going to close the public hearing for 430 Reed Street. Okay, on to our number 6 is 462 Wormwood Road, map 126, parcel 239. Petition of Melissa and Robert Miller for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the street line setback from 30 feet, currently 30.6, proposing 28.4, permission to enclose the front porch. Name and address?
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Miller. This is Melissa Miller. We live at 462 Wormwood Road. Good afternoon. Thanks for having us today. As you said, we are proposing enclosing an open portico that leads to our front door to create a single-story vestibule on the same footprint as the existing portico. That portico is 4.2 feet by 7.4 feet. And we're asking for a variance for this simple project that would reduce the street setback by about 2.2 feet. That would leave 28.4 feet from the street. Our hardship is twofold. First, our front door currently opens directly into the stairs. So this is unsafe for our family. We've had many close calls with our young children or our guests who are walking down the stairs and the door swings open and it almost hits them in the face. Secondly, we need the variance because the road is curved, making part of our setback shorter, which limits our ability to add the small vestibule under the current setback. Again, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Does the board have any questions of the applicants? I have a question. When you say the road is curved, is it curved where your portico comes out?
Mm-hmm.
So if it was straight, would you be here?
I think if it were straight at the farthest point, no.
Okay. So if you took that far right and you went across, you would meet all the setback criteria.
I believe so.
But because you live on a curved road, do you live in a cul-de-sac or the road is it's this road, Wormwood goes like that? Okay. Okay. That's all I had. Joe?
I guess because Jane's not here today, I keep thinking, who's establishing the hardship? So what is the existing hardship here?
The curved
The
road.
curved road.
And just looking, where can I see that in your application?
If you want, Joe, it's right there.
It's on the screen.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, yeah. But the house currently does not sit. There are no exceptions in the current layout, correct? I mean, we've got a lot of inadequate size, we've got setbacks of adequate distance, all of the standards that we use, I don't see any existing nonconformity.
So the open portico, so the setback from the road is 30 feet, and the house itself is 30.6. And the currently open portico extends by about 4 feet, which is allowed by current regulation. So to enclose that, we'd be going past the setback.
When you enclose something, the setback requirements change.
And then, question.
Yes, go ahead.
Done, Joe?
For the moment.
Okay. So, just to clarify, the existing portico is open, it's there, you're not adding square footage, you're just enclosing.
Correct.
And if I'm correct, that you currently are allowed to go into the setback up to 10 feet with an open portico, but because of the fact it's closing in now, you lose that exception.
That's correct.
And it will allow you to move your front door farther away from the stairs, is that?
Yeah,
That's
so it
correct.
won't swing into the staircase when you're coming down it.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, no more questions from the board. Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the room or online who is here to speak in favor of this application?
The original.
Is there anyone here or online who wishes to oppose this application? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing. 462 Wormwood Road. Okay, last but not least, our application for 614 Roland Road, map 183, parcel 9, petition of Elena Sensman for a variance of the zoning regulations section 5.2.5 to increase the lot coverage from 20%, currently 20.7, proposing 20.8. Permission to construct an elevated pad to a FEMA-compliant dwelling for a generator. Premises A zone. Name and address?
Hi, I'm Anthony Sensman, address 614 Roland Road. Thanks for your time. We all sat through a pretty eventful hearing, maybe the most of the year, but I would just say that all we're looking to do is add a generator, and because of our location, it needs to be elevated, and because it needs to be elevated, it constitutes an additional structure on the property, and we are looking for an allowance of 0.1% on the lot coverage. I have gotten unanimous approval from my immediately surrounding neighbors, notified the rest through mail. I plan to make it look as nice as possible for my neighbors that would be looking at it in some way. I'm unsure of what else I should say here.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. Okay, so why don't we could just go to questions from the board now,
Sure.
okay? Does anyone have any questions on this application? So I'm correct in saying, because it's a lot coverage, anywhere you put this, you would need to be here, because you're going to go over your lot coverage unless you buried it, which you can't do to a generator.
Right.
And you can't put it in your garage.
No.
Right.
And
So if you want a generator
Right.
on your property, you are going to have to ask for a variance on lot coverage.
Correct.
Okay. I just
That,
wanted to-
correct, am I correct that that variance is 0.1%?
0.1.
0.1.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions, Harold?
Does this show the location of the generator?
Yeah, so if you look, I'll go up to TV. If you look on the back here, it's this rectangle right there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from the board on this application? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can sit. Is there anyone in the audience or online who would like to speak for this application? Hearing none, seeing none. Is there anyone here or online who would like to propose this application? Hearing none, seeing none, we're going to close this application. Thank you. Okay, we are now also going to close the public hearing part of this meeting. And we are going to go into our voting session. Would anyone like a break even though you just had one? No? Okay, so we are not going to go to break. So we are going to talk through the applications. So The first application was continued, so we are not going to discuss that. So we're going to, so unfortunately, I do have to read them in again. So we're going to go to application number 113 Charles Street. It's a petition of the Fords for variance to zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the sum of two sideline setbacks from 20 feet, currently 25.6, proposing 14.1, permission to construct a 2.5-story addition, premises B zone. Can I please have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
And may I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so now it is time for a board discussion on this application.
Non-conforming lot. So there's the hardship.
Pre-existing nonconformity, so they have a hardship.
Yeah, I,
It's reasonable.
okay. Anyone else have any discussion on this application? Okay, I think we're ready to vote. We're going to start with Katie.
Yes.
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 And I'm also a yes, that variance is granted, 113 Charles Street. Okay. Number 2 is 104 Roland Road, map 182, petition of the Hibbs for a variation of zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the sum of two-line setbacks from 20, currently 17.8, proposing 17.8, and section 5.2.5 to increase lot coverage. Permission to construct a 1- and 2-story addition for a deck, premises A zone. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, Elise, and a second?
Second.
Okay, Harold, second. Discussion. Okay, any discussion on 104, 10?
I think the hardship is the non-conforming 60-foot lot. And in addition, they're still well under the bulk, the FAR.
Right.
They could go up to 40% if they wanted to, and they're only at 31%. So I think that's great for the neighborhood.
It's a very small increase in coverage, and many of the neighbors, immediate neighbors are certainly in favor.
Right.
I didn't hear or see any objections.
Okay. All right, if I don't hear any more discussion, we can go to a vote. Kate?
I'm a yes.
Elise is a yes?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. That variance is granted, 104 Roland Road. Okay, number 3. And we are going to combine 3 and 4. So we're discussing 108 New England Avenue Lot A and 108 New England Avenue Lot B. Parcel 62 for both, and it's a petition of New England Avenue for both. For a variance to the zoning regulations 5.1.1 and 2.7 to reduce the lot size and lot square from 6,000 square foot to 60 square and 60 frontage, currently 10,000 square foot, 100 square foot, and 100 foot frontage, proposing 5,000 square foot, 50 square, and 50 frontage, permission to create a single-family building on Lot B, and permission to grant a single-family dwelling on Lot A. Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Katie?
Second.
Okay, second from Elise. Let us discuss.
Basically wants to divide the property and put 2 smaller houses.
And I have a few things to say. Number one, I think you can note that the 2 lots behind that house, they're both 5,000 square foot lots, as are everything else behind that area. As far as the hardship, it seems to me that the hardship is that when this original subdivision was made, the lot size were allowed to be much smaller. So when the original subdivision was made, he would have been able to build 2 houses. That's like he had to build 4 houses. So there's that hardship. As far as the character of the neighborhood, I think Matt shared some pictures that the builder showed of how he built on a couple other streets, and I think they're very, very nice looking. I don't think it's not in conjunction or in harmony with the street. I think with regard to the neighbor who was not happy with the application, was opposing it, there are a couple things. Number one, I think we all know traffic is not our concern. So there's no reason for us to wait to vote until the traffic safety review. School attendance is not our concern. The motive and intent of the owner or who the buyer is not our concern. Whether they're going to be renting or whether they're going to be selling, not our concern. So I think most of the objections are just not valid. And I do think there's a hardship.
And I concur.
Okay.
Everything you said, I agree with Katie.
As the builder stated, he's going to build on the property one way or the other, whether it's a duplex or two homes. And I think that the pictures of the homes look good, and it will presumably increase the appearance and the value of the neighbors on the street. And I also agree that the objections raised were not significant to our consideration.
Okay. Joe?
Our job is to deal with hardships and existing nonconformities. There is no existing nonconformity with this lot. We're being asked to create a nonconformity by allowing two undersized parcels to be built on individually. It might be consistent with the neighborhood, it might be gorgeous, it might be lots of things, but I don't even know that there is a valid hardship that we can consider. So I'm not convinced that this is a good application.
Do you not, does anyone, you don't believe that that is a hardship, that the zoning change from the initial zoning when that subdivision was conceived?
There was no zoning
There
when
were
that
no zonings,
subdivision
yeah.
was created. And the
They were lots.
zoning, and today's zoning, that property is conforming. It's a little bit bigger than it needs to be, but it's conforming, and there's no hardship there. We're not talking about a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The fact that the subdivision filed in 1916 showed 4 25-foot lots is not what anybody bought. They bought in multiples of lots, and whoever built the existing house had assembled 4 lots to do that, because that conformed with zoning. 3 lots would have worked. They could have built on 7,500 square feet, but they wanted to assemble a 100-foot square lot, and they did. That is not a nonconformity. He could build a 2-family house there.
I do think the topography, I'm sorry to interrupt, makes the building of a large 2-family home where you have to stack it unsightly and not in conformity with the surrounding neighborhood. That's just, the way I view it. So the topography is something that we can consider as a hardship.
Yeah, so let's just talk about that a little bit, because I feel like that's the one, if we feel this application could be approved, the only hardship I see is topography. But would the topography be any different with one building than with 2?
I think what he said was that he could build 2, one at a lower elevation and the second house higher up, and that it would just be at different elevations.
It's a huge topography. I mean, we're talking about I think he said 47 feet down between.
And you would have that space in between the houses with the
retaining wall,
right, and infiltrators to be catching that water versus one big bulk. Which is, again, in keeping with the neighborhood.
Properties were originally subdivided, they were 25 feet wide. So historically, that was a conforming lot. And so going back to the original conformity of the lot, if there were changes subsequent to that, I think that that holds water, and that is still significant, that even combining two lots, giving you a width of 50 feet, still is more than the original plot size that was originally sold.
But there was no zoning.
I don't know if you can use that for a second one, because it's not what exists here today. Like, we can only look at, here's what that is, these are the regulations for that lot today versus what he wants to do. All right, sorry, we'll get back to that. But Joe, what is your take?
He's got a conforming house on a conforming lot, and he wants to create a nonconformity. There's no existing hardship. He might not be able to put the biggest two-family house he can on the existing lot, and I'm not even convinced of that. But he wants to do something that isn't allowed when the existing property is entirely conforming. I don't think our job is to create nonconformity.
I don't think so either, but I do think he has the right to use his whole lot. Right? That's what I would say, like, he has the right to use his lot. And if, in building one big one, he can't use the lot without a huge topography concern, I think that falls into our realm. I do. Okay, if we don't have any more discussion, I think we're ready to vote. Katie?
Yes.
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 No.
And I'm a yes. That has passed.
You have to do it twice.
Okay, so we're gonna actually do it all over again, so I do it correctly. So the first,
Friday, so you just have to do lot B.
but I didn't say that.
We took up both applications at the same time. To have two different votes essentially on the same application is crazy. If we approve one and don't approve the other, we haven't approved either.
Well, actually, what we did though, we didn't put them together, we just allowed them to be discussed as one. We never made them one
Well,
application.
then, all right, well
So we're
then,
gonna start again, and we're gonna vote, if you don't mind, we'll do it correctly. So the first time we're gonna vote, well,
Lot A.
we're gonna, okay, but, do I need, okay, we're just gonna vote.
You don't need to read it again.
Okay,
Just say
good.
lot A.
Okay, so we're gonna take a vote now.
well, I would move that we consider both applications together in one vote. It's the only way to do it, because otherwise we could vote one yes and one no, and that's nonsensical.
Well, let's see if that happens. Okay, we're gonna start with voting on 108 New England Avenue, Lot A.
Yes.
Yes.
Elise is a yes.
Yes.
Jeff?
No.
And I'm a yes. So that is, variance is approved for 108 New England Avenue, Lot A. We are now going to vote on 108 New England Avenue, Lot B. So the first person to vote, Katie?
Yes.
Elise is a yes.
Yes.
Harold's a yes. Joe is a,
Cannot understand why we have two votes on one property, and I will vote no.
okay, and I'm a yes. So that variance is also approved.
On to the next.
One extension, I guess. Because each one needs a variance. Each lot.
Well, because we took them both as one. She read it that way, which was fine. But when we go to vote, we have to vote on each one of them.
It doesn't matter, that wasn't.
It would be the same thing on the next one.
Okay.
We're fine.
Okay, we're going to vote, now we're going to go to a vote. First thing is 430 Reed Street, map 125, parcel 290, petition of Christopher and Stephanie Moore for a variance to the zoning regulations, section 5.2.5, to increase the total lot coverage from 20%, currently 24.2, proposing 29.5, permission to construct a rear one-story addition and a landing with stairs. I need a motion to approve. Harold is a motion to approve. I need a second.
I'll second.
At least seconds. We are going to discuss.
This is the tricky framing.
This is a ranch that was looking to do an addition with tricky framing. Okay, anybody want to start?
Well, I'll start. I think that it's a non-conforming lot. Was that mentioned?
I don't think so.
I don't believe it is a non-conforming lot. I didn't see that. Matt can't talk in this part. Can you,
Did anyone else?
I didn't see
notice if
that. We're gonna look right now.
That's my mistake.
No, you could be right.
It is not
Trying to go to the next case.
It is not a non.
Okay, so we have a conforming lot. Would you like to start
Well,
again?
then I would submit that the increase from 24.2, proposing 29.5 is a nominal increase. And given the structure of the dwelling and not ease of building a second floor, that the only option for expansion is to expand at the same level. And there's a long list of immediate approval neighbors who are in approval.
Thank you.
And I didn't see any objections.
Anyone else?
So what, it's currently 24.2 and they're going up to 29.5?
Yep.
It's not a terribly, it's non-conforming to that extent, right? Because it should be 20, so it's non-conforming.
It's already non-conforming. It's already
And
non-conforming.
They're asking for
A little
bit more, and so I have no objections to that. I do think that the framing issues are, consequential for them, and adding to the back keeps it in line with the rest of the neighborhood. So I'm not opposed to it personally.
So, in finding a hardship here, one reason you can have a hardship, you can't have a financial hardship, but what you can have is if you lose significant value in a hardship. So, if we say no, they would never be able, they would have to tear down their house and rebuild it in its entirety.
They wouldn't be able to make their.
They wouldn't be able to ever increase the value. That, I'm not sure if that's a stretch on that, but that's the,
That's the consequence of not approving.
I'm not an expert in framing a house, and I appreciate that it's, the 2x3s are a problematic condition, but I don't know that they'd have to tear down the whole house to put a second story on it. They could do some other framing things that wouldn't necessitate that.
we had a home that was like this, and we couldn't put a second floor on. And it is true, we would have to have taken it down to the ground, because it can't support the structure.
Right, but you can, I mean,
They mentioned ways to bolster it
Yeah,
inside, but
there's
it's.
way, but it's
engineering
really expensive.
Very tricky too.
They probably move, would be my guess.
It's a very small increase.
It's really de minimis.
It's a nominal.
If they were in a B zone, they'd be fine.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
no.
All right, we're gonna vote. Katie?
Yes. I'm a yes.
Lisa's a yes.
Yes.
Yes, Joe?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. Variance passes. Okay. Number 6, 462 Wormwood, petition of the Millers for a variance, section 5.2.4, for a street sign setback from 30, currently 30.6, proposing 28.4. They want to enclose their front porch. Can I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve
Elise,
this.
and a second? Second. Katie. Discussion.
They have, the curvature of the road does make that a hardship for them, and they're really asking to enclose a very small section of their home. I mean, the pictures of the door coming in, I mean, that's a pretty significant issue for them in their house, but I don't think it's a big ask at all.
Carol, Joe, anything to say?
It's a very nominal increase of square footage that is based only on providing an enclosure to an existing floor space. I I don't know how else you would keep the guests from going straight up the stairs.
Is anyone else for a discussion item? Okay, if we're ready, we're going to go to a vote.
Yes.
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 Joe?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes, variance passes for 46-2 Wormwood Road. Okay, last but not least, 614 Roland Road, parcel of Elena Sussman for a variance of the zoning regulations section 5.2.4 to increase lot coverage for a generator. May I have a motion to approve? Okay, Katie,
I'll
a
second it.
second is Elise. Okay, discussion. So we're asking to put a generator on the property, so he's going to go over lot coverage, correct?
Given my experience with UI, I think it's worthwhile to have a generator.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a de minimis and he needs it. Yeah, so
Okay, anyone else want, any more discussion? If there's no more discussion, we'll go to a vote. Katie?
yes, I'm a yes.
Okay, Elise is a yes.
Yes.
Harold's a yes.
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Joe's a yes, and I'm also a yes. Okay, we are going to close the public hearing. Thanks, everyone. If anyone has any questions, there's Matt.